They were very loving people. They wanted to share all their love with as many children as they could.
You got these two individuals killed execution style.
It's shocking that someone would be shot right in front of their own kids in their own home.
What did you think when you heard that pow, 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 pow? I thought, oh dear God, no.
They had 16 cameras and they were all working.
You see them kicking the front door, back door at the same time.
It just doesn't make sense because they got what they wanted, so why kill them?
The camera really tells the tale.
It was almost silence when we're watching it and seeing it. We couldn't believe what we were watching.
Summer 2009, Pensacola, Florida. Bud and Melanie Billings are enjoying life with the big, loving family they've made for themselves.
They had a couple of their own children and they adopted many children. They just wanted to have a large family whatever way they could swing it.
I believe they are the modern life Brady Bunch, honestly. They adopted a lot of special needs kids and they loved them a lot. If they could, they would adopt every child in the world.
Before the Billings became Pensacola's modern-day Brady Bunch, they were just Bud and Melanie.
Bud was a fixture in the used car business.
So Bud is this hard-charging businessman. He was an entrepreneur. He had many businesses. He had a lot of money, and he wanted a large family. The bigger, the better. Then he meets Melanie, who is the softer side of him.
Bud used to own a club in town. Melanie was a waitress there, and they madly fell in love. He eventually sold the club and got heavier in the used car business, which is where Bud really was making his money.
With Bud's career on the rise, the couple decide to marry in 1993.
Melanie was great. She kind of smoothed off the edges of Bud. He deeply loved her.
Bud and Melanie have 2 children apiece from previous marriages. But they're not done yet.
He wanted to take care of children, and it was like in his soul. So adoptions ensued. And Bud and Melanie actually ended up with 13 children.
Melanie developed a passion for helping these kids. And these kids were very much a part of their lives.
They just were very loving people, honestly. They just wanted to share all their love with as many children as they could.
You have money and you are adopting these special needs children, and that gains a lot of attention because of, it's a good deed, obviously, but also it's kind of unusual.
By 2009, the Billings have 9 children in their home, ranging in age from 4 to 11. Their 2 oldest children from previous marriages, Melanie's daughter Ashley and Bud's son Justin, are grown but live in the area. They decide to share the story of their big loving family with their community.
Our daily newspaper did a big profile on the Billings family. There were some wonderful pictures of Bud and Melanie and all this litter of kids, some laying and some in their laps, and all ages and sizes. And the whole story was just about how big their hearts were. This photo was the last photo of the family. And just, you can't look at that picture and not feel something for this family.
7 p.m. on July 9th, 2009. The Billings are home. Most of their children are in bed.
Bud is with one of their kids watching television. His wife is in a kitchen. It was one of those kitchens that had sort of a counter that she could look into the living room area. So she's cleaning dishes, they're watching TV.
Bud and Melanie Billings have no idea that these seemingly mundane chores will be their final moments together.
Their eldest daughter, Ashley, calls the house to see how the family's doing. It's like 7:30 at night. One of the children answers the phone, and the child is crying.
The Billings had a nurse that helped part-time at the home. Her name was April Spencer.
Worried that she can't get her parents to come to the phone, Ashley calls April and asks her to go to the Billings house and check on Bud and Melanie and their children.
Sheriff's Department, Debbie.
I live next door. The mother and father have been shot.
They've been shot?
Yes. Please come.
Hey, I'm trying to get somebody there. So you said the mother and father both have been shot?
Yes. I gotta go over here with the children, but I don't know.
I don't want you to be in any danger, okay? I've got several officers on the way to you.
Hurry. I gotta go get the kids. There's kids in the house.
Home security video reveals a key clue to the Billings killers.
The first thing that comes to mind when you see that red van is we're going to be able to find that.
And find a tangled web of conspirators.
They're all in complete black. They look like ninjas.
She's very successful, and somehow she's involved with these ninja characters.
So now we're stuck with trying to figure out all these players and how to prove it.
And it doesn't make any sense. Why would you get yourself involved in this?
So you said the mother and father both have been shot?
Yes.
July 9th, 2009. A frantic 911 call sends police rushing to the home of Bud and Melanie Billings in Pensacola, Florida.
We got dispatch telling us that we needed to respond to a double murder. At that time, we didn't know much about it. We didn't know if maybe it was a murder-suicide or what we had. I pull up and I see probably half of our patrol deputies on scene, lights everywhere.
It was sort of surreal because they're carrying babies and toddlers and all different type of ages outside. Just that eeriness of how many kids were in that house and trying to get them out.
There's 8 to 13 kids that we're dealing with. We learned right away the majority of them were nonverbal. It was difficult getting anything out of them. So after the kids were safe with a nanny, we started to walk through the crime scene. Right away you notice the door been kicked in, that it was forced open. You see some blood right there in the living room. And then to the far right is the bedroom, and you see Mr. and Miss Billings on the floor inside the bedroom.
Based on the initial forensics noted at the scene, it quickly becomes clear to detectives that this is not a murder-suicide.
You know, you got these 2 individuals killed almost execution style. When you see that, that's when we knew it's definitely, this is going to be different. I mean, you know right away. that you're dealing with either robbery or home invasion, something in that nature.
When the Billings' daughter Ashley arrives at the scene, she points officers to something inside the house that could help them get some answers.
There were cameras all over the place. They had 16 cameras and they were all working.
The reason they had the video system there was to keep an eye on all these special needs kids that they didn't hurt themselves.
Detectives rush the video equipment back to their tech team at headquarters, hopeful it will hold the answers to what happened in Bud and Melanie's final moments.
We had to actually pull the hard drive. It had to be pulled and brought back to the sheriff's office to be viewed.
Meanwhile, forensics teams continue through the night processing the bloody scene for physical evidence.
There wasn't a lot of evidence left by these killers because they really covered their tracks except for the shell casings. But then also there were some shoe prints because one of the doors had been kicked in and they found some boot prints outside the house.
Investigators send the physical evidence for processing and return to the sheriff's office, where they are at last able to access the video from the Billings home security system.
When we finally start viewing the video, it's clear as day. You see this red van pull up. You see these people jump out.
You had 5 individuals moving across the yard. They're all in complete black shoes, shirts, and masks. So they look like ninjas.
It was almost silence when we're watching it. We couldn't believe what we were watching. Then you see them kick in the front door, back door at the same time. It's not something that we had ever seen.
The surveillance footage tells a stunning story about what happened inside the house.
You could tell it's obviously planned, military style, long guns, handguns.
You see Bud immediately puts his hands up.
And he's trying to talk to these killers that have come into his home with his kids and his wife.
Then you have 2 other masked men come in from down the hallway.
So the men that finally rush into the room, they get Bud and they zip tie him and they push him to the floor.
Within minutes of getting Bud on the floor, one of the guys shoots him twice, one in each leg, in the meaty part of the calf. Drag him, into the master bedroom, drag Melanie into the master bedroom.
Mr. Billings didn't have video in his bedroom, so we didn't see them being killed.
Investigators rewind the video again and again, scouring it for clues. And they spot something they didn't notice earlier.
We see there's a little boy in the living room. This little 6, 7, 8-year-old kid watching and seeing his family get killed. It was horrible.
The child, he was with his dad when the men broke into the house. He wasn't in the bedroom, but he actually saw his dad being shot. He saw his mom being dragged. The gang pretty much just ignored him, while this was all going on. And immediately, just kept doing what they were doing.
I've covered a lot of murders, and this one is the most shocking because it's basically caught on camera, memorializing the final moments of the Billings lives. And all the children are there. It's so unnerving, and it's just sad, but also it's something you can't unsee. And then after that, you can see the ninja invaders quickly leaving the house.
You see them getting into the van with an object. But it was hard to tell from the video what they were carrying out of the house.
This whole thing happened in less than 10 minutes.
So police are trying to figure out, is this just simply a home invasion and people that want money? Or why did this go down?
Home security video has captured chilling details of the murders of Bud and Melanie Billings in front of their children. Investigators believe the key to understanding what happened may lie in the unidentified object the killers are seen fleeing with on the blurry video.
In the early moments of the investigation, we were thinking that it was a robbery.
The video answers a lot of questions, but not the most important ones.
So you have this great video of showing exactly what happened, but you couldn't distinguish any type of facial features or anything like that. And we didn't know what they took.
Investigators continue trying to decipher the clues contained in the home security video. They need to know exactly what was taken from the Billings home, why, and most importantly, by whom. So they speak to those closest to Bud and Melanie, their oldest children, Justin and Ashley.
Typically in a homicide, they're going to go first to the people that are closest. So they're going to go find out where all the family members were, get their interviews done quickly.
We found out through Ashley, there was 2 different safes in the house. The small safe was in his bedroom in a bedroom closet. And there was another safe upstairs.
And one of those safes is now missing.
So when we put the whole thing together, you see him carrying what we know now is the small safe put into the red van, and you see everybody leaving. In that safe, Ashley had told us there's like birth certificates, adoption paperwork, stuff of that nature for all these kids. Some minor jewelry of her mom's, but not a lot.
So Ashley tells police, look, they got away with a safe, but the other safe that's in the house is the one with the cash.
There was a lot of money being made with the used car business.
So in the safe upstairs, there was like 100 to 200,000, something like that, worth of cash inside.
They took the wrong one.
They had no clue about the second safe, and I just think it was a little bit of ignorance.
Investigators still have no leads to the identities of the home invaders. They hope one comes from their most promising clue, the red van seen on the security video.
The first thing that comes to mind when you see that red van is, we're going to be able to find that.
We got that video of the red van put out on media. I mean, right away.
As police work on finding the killers, the Billings family is faced with another urgent task, taking care of the children who are now left orphaned. Ashley, Melanie's oldest daughter from her previous marriage, rises to the challenge.
She's taking care of all the kids.
That's a big responsibility, but those kids need someone that's close to them and that knows what they need.
Days pass with no new leads on the red van or the identity of its occupants. The evidence points to a robbery gone bad. But with a safe full of cash left behind, and the 2 brazen murders, detectives begin to wonder if something bigger is at play.
In the South, you don't speak ill of the dead until they're buried. So my thought was, okay, once we get the funerals over with, somebody's going to come forward. And sure enough, my theory turned out to be right. We started hearing that Bud was a great friend, but he never got the wrong side of a business deal. The stories that we were getting were the people that had used car lots with them. He would find a successful salesperson. He would help them finance the cars. But then when the sales start to fall off, he didn't hesitate to take the whole lot from them. And there were stories of him coming in the middle of the night, taking all the keys, moving all the cars in the lot, and the guy going back to work to a lot he thought he had with no cars.
Might Bud Billings have crossed the wrong man?
So there was a question whether this was just purely to burglarize the Billings, or was there some other motive behind this? Was it hit? Was there a revenge motive to this?
We appreciate you coming in.
Well, anything to help.
Bud's adult son, Justin, sometimes worked with his dad on his auto lots. As police interview him about the murders, he provides some intriguing details about his father's business dealings.
And when the police spoke to Justin, he gave them a name, a key to why this might have all gone down.
During the interview with Justin, he brings up Cab Tice. He said, hey, this is a guy you might want to look at. Him and my dad have had issues in the past, and you might want to check him out.
Cab Tice ran several car dealerships. He had a flair for liking Hawaiian shirts. He tanned.
Justin tells investigators that his father had a business dispute with Cab Tice, and Bud had accused Cab of stealing from him.
My dad was disappointed in him for stealing from him. I mean, he said if you needed money, you could have just asked. You'd have to steal it from me. And Cab just stormed out.
So we start looking into Cab Tice. We wind up going out there and making contact with Cab. And he made it clear that he had no use for Mr. Billings. It kept just getting more interesting in every turn.
Two days after the murders of Bud and Melanie Billings, Bud's son Justin has given police the name of a potential suspect, Cab Tice.
The story was he and Bud had a falling out. Bud would finance his lot, and Cab would sell cars and not give Bud his share of the money. If anybody had something against Bud Billings, it was Cab Tice.
Mr. Billings felt like Cab owed him money. They were not friendly at all. It was clear. So when we started to talk to Mr. Tice, he was very frank.
In business, Bud Billings wouldn't give you a dime unless you got 29 cents back.
Said, hey, I don't like the guy. I have no use for him. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not sad that he's gone.
Bud Billings' favorite statement was this, and as you interview people, they'll all confirm this. He'll say, you know what, over these years, I had so much cash that I could not spend it before I died. And when this whole thing happened, those words rang in my ear, I have more cash, and I think he was right.
Detectives think Cab Tice could have a motive to go after Bud. They press him to provide an alibi for the night of the murders, and he tells them he was working at a dealership an hour and a half outside of Pensacola that evening.
And we showed you a picture of this van right here, right?
Yes, sir. I've never seen that van.
You've never seen that van?
No, sir.
With no evidence that he committed any crime, police have no cause to hold Cab.
We let him go, letting him know that we had to follow up, checking his alibi and verify everything that he said.
Despite their initial suspicions, detectives are able to corroborate Cab's alibi. The case seems to be losing momentum. But then, investigators' strategy of asking for the public's help finding the red van seen at the Billings home finally pays off.
Somebody calls up and says, hey, I know this van. I once owned it and I sold it.
And I sold it to Patrick Gonzalez. Investigators go to the address of Mr. Gonzalez they had found in our computer database.
They drive by the house. Lo and behold, there's this van peeking out behind the trailer. They go, and it looks like the one that is in the video.
And it's just sitting there.
So police bring Patrick Gonzalez to the police station for questioning.
So he tells the investigator that the van doesn't run, hasn't moved in a while, and that it's his son's, Gonzalez Jr.'s.
So police have two suspects, and they both have the same name. One is Senior, one is Junior. Leonard Patrick Gonzalez Sr. and then Leonard Patrick Gonzalez Jr.
Detectives continue to press Patrick Gonzalez Sr. about the red van, when suddenly, he crumbles.
Patrick Gonzalez Sr. tells the police that, hey, I was just the driver. He spilled the beans on everything.
Okay. You pull in the driveway, what happens?
Everybody jumps in, doors kicking open. Right on the ground.
Okay. All right.
And that's all I thought it would be.
He just basically spills his guts that it's his son, Patrick Jr., who masterminded the whole thing, and it's all his fault. I was just the getaway driver.
He said his son kind of brought him into this, a father and son kind of escapade. You know, instead of going fishing, we're going to go commit a robbery.
He talks about, being told about this being a drug dealer, that nobody was going to care if they robbed this guy. And he was shocked when he heard the gunshots go off in the house, and pretty much lays out the whole crime.
You said you were still in the van. What did you do next?
Got in the driver's seat.
Uh-huh. And then what happens after that?
We get down in the yard, everything's going fine, and then all of a sudden, I'm out.
Okay.
What'd you think when you heard that pow, 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 pow?
I liked it on myself. I thought, oh dear God, no.
Based on his confession, Patrick Gonzalez Sr. is charged with being an accomplice.
Senior tells us everything that happened, but he doesn't know all the names of the other guys. So now we're stuck with trying to figure out all these players and how to prove it.
Police have traced the red van used in the murders of Bud and Melanie Billings to Patrick Gonzalez Sr. He admits to being at the scene, but insists his son is the mastermind behind the deadly robbery.
So as we started investigating Gonzalez Jr., we learned that him and Bud Billings were friends and knew each other.
They knew each other in the car business. Patrick Jr. would work at different car lots. They would do these big tent sales, and he'd be one of the army of salespeople that would do that.
Because of what they have on Patrick Jr. from his father, they bring him in for an interrogation.
Investigators do not immediately reveal what Patrick Gonzalez's father has told them.
We appreciate you coming here today.
Believe me, when I saw the pictures on the TV, I was like, damn, and I know the guy, so I'm thinking.
You know what guy?
The guy that this is about. So I was like,
You saw the picture of the van on TV?
Yeah.
Man, that's your van.
Excuse me?
That picture is the same van that's in your yard, right?
It's similar. Very similar to that van, but no, it's not. It can't be the same van. It's not the same van.
He denies everything, and he tells us his dad's mentally crazy. Don't listen to nothing he says.
Detectives believe Patrick Sr.'s story. Patrick Gonzalez Jr. is their prime suspect, but they have to find proof that he was involved.
We had enough probable cause to keep Senior. We didn't have enough probable cause to keep Junior, so then we got to keep following up. We got to get enough evidence to prove his dad's story.
That includes doing a deep dive into Patrick Jr.'s background.
Patrick Jr., he had spent some time in prison with a battery charge, an assault charge, and he had come out. He was very proficient in martial arts, had done some MMA fighting. Patrick had gone to Bud to get money to help with the studio that he had, the martial arts studio that he started, and Bud was not interested in investing in his business.
Investigators believe they have discovered a possible explanation for why the robbery turned so inexplicably deadly. Could Patrick Jr. have been so angry at Bud for not investing in his studio that he wanted him dead? Police execute a search warrant at Patrick Gonzalez Sr.'s property, where the red van was located.
The search warrant at Senior's house was incredibly huge. It helps tie things together. We wind up getting paint cans where they were trying to paint the vehicle, some burned clothes and stuff like that. We wind up getting a shoebox from Walmart.
So the shoebox is significant because the pattern on the bottom of those boots matched the pattern of the shoe prints found at the Billings house after the double murder.
Detectives head to Walmart and find surveillance footage matching the date and time on a receipt found with the shoeboxes. And on it, they see Patrick Jr. with a group of men police believe is the robbery crew.
Well, all of them are on the video at Walmart, where we see him buying clothing and shoes for the group that he had recruited.
Prosecutors feel they now have enough to arrest Patrick Gonzalez Jr. When they release the Walmart video to the public, tips help them identify and arrest the other 5 men.
They were tied to Gonzalez Jr. through a mechanic shop. So he winds up talking them into going into this house and robbing it because this guy's got tons and tons of money in his safe.
Police arrest Wayne Coldiron, Donnie Stallworth, Gary Sumner, Rakeem Florence, and Frederick Thornton. But pieces of the puzzle are still missing.
They had arrested a lot of people, but they didn't have the guns, they didn't have the safe.
Detectives continue interrogating their suspects, probing for leads to the guns and safe. And as they do, they hear about a mysterious woman who may be the key to that information.
Pamela Long-Wiggins, she's blonde, she's a real estate agent, very successful, has a lot of money, and somehow she's involved with these ninja characters.
We wind up finding out that she's rents to Gonzalez Jr., a home in Gulf Breeze, Florida. He would collect money for her if people were giving her a hard time, not paying up, kick them out of homes, stuff of that nature. So that was their connection.
Police learned from their suspects that after the murders, Patrick Gonzalez Jr. met with Pamela. But then, she disappeared. Detectives managed to track Pamela down just in time.
She was trying to leave and wound up locating her in a big yacht or boat that they had in Orange Beach, Alabama. When we get Pamela Wiggins back to the sheriff's office, she doesn't want to speak with us without an attorney.
But then they get an unexpected visit from Pamela's husband, Hugh, looking to cut a deal for himself.
Hugh Wiggins was not on our radar at all. So we're like, this case just gets crazier and crazier. And he actually spills all the beans. He sells his wife under the bus.
The first question we have is, where is the safe?
Do you want me to tell you, or do you want me to take you to it?
I want you to tell me at this point.
Well, first of all, I don't know for a fact that it's there. I was just told that it was there.
Who told you?
Pam told me.
Hugh had cut an immunity deal with the state attorney's office. And he told them where the guns could be found, where the safe was. That was sort of a turning point in this investigation.
Faced with her husband's betrayal, Pamela admits to taking the guns and safe. She tells detectives she got her marching orders from Patrick Gonzalez Jr.
Okay. He said, if we do the job, won't be in trouble. And I let him talk me into it.
I didn't hear you.
And I let him talk me into doing this.
Pamela Wiggins is charged with accessory after the fact. The rest of the crew are charged with murder and armed home invasion. As investigators continue to interrogate them, they all point the finger at Patrick Gonzalez Jr. as the man who turned that night deadly.
Because he's the one who pulls the trigger.
They explained that when they come in the front door that it's Gonzalez Jr. right away. When the first shot goes out, they're shocked, and they tell us that Gonzalez Jr. shot them both while they were in the bedroom.
Gonzalez Jr. told this tale of how we're going to rob these drug dealers and this bad guy, and there's millions and millions of dollars.
It was only supposed to be a robbery, and they were pissed because that is not what was supposed to happen.
Prosecutors in Patrick Gonzalez Jr.'s murder case are preparing for what they know will be a closely watched trial. It's one of the most high-profile cases in Pensacola's history.
I think that what was a challenge in this case was that you want to make sure that no stone goes unturned to make sure we obtain justice. It's a death penalty case.
Leonard Patrick Gonzalez Jr.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Gonzalez, you've been arrested on charges of homicide and home invasion and robbery with a firearm.
In October 2010, the trial of Patrick Gonzalez Jr. for the murders of Bud and Melanie Billings begins. Prosecutors have plenty of evidence that he wanted the Billings money.
I think that Gonzalez Jr. believed that there was a treasure trove at that house.
But they can't explain why he wanted them dead.
So the big question that still hangs in the balance is, why were the Billings killed? It just doesn't make sense because they got what they wanted. They got a safe. So why kill the parents?
It was supposed to be just a simple robbery, people needing money. I really am not sure what was in Gonzalez's mind, but I think if you watch the video and surveillance video and you see it, as quickly as he shot him when he come in that door, I think, in my opinion, he had full intentions of killing him as soon as he come in that door. He comes in the door and shoots him right away.
Patrick Gonzalez won't provide any answers about his motive. He maintains his innocence and declines to testify. But the state has another powerful weapon. As part of a plea deal, 2 of the crew members, Rakeem Florence and Frederick Thornton, have agreed to testify to their involvement in the murders.
We walked Florence and Thornton through the video, and they would say, "That's me. That's this. This is this person." It became alive through them. So you brought almost a color commentary right there from the guys who were inside the house.
I think it worked effectively.
The video was the overwhelming piece of evidence that sealed the fate of all these folks. The video cannot be cross-examined. It puts the people where they're at. It is the crime.
On October 28, 2010, the jury finds Patrick Gonzalez Jr. guilty of murder and armed home invasion robbery.
A judge ultimately, after sentencing hearings, sentenced him to death.
The other members of the deadly crew all receive heavy prison sentences, ranging from 20 years to life. Both Patrick Gonzalez Sr. and Pamela Wiggins die behind bars.
As a human being, you just have to look at the senseless nature of it. Just absolutely senseless violence that has inexorably changed people's lives by virtue of just mere greed. Senseless greed. And that's the thing that really saddens you, because, in many ways, all these people were drawn in for greed, and then a senseless double murder takes place. Families are torn apart. Both sides of the equation are forever changed by this.
Family was at the center of Bud and Melanie's life. Their daughter Ashley keeps their legacy alive by continuing to care for the children loved by the couple.
I just hope that one day that the kids grow up and they know that Melanie and Bud did love them.